Hey, so I just did another one. Hopefully this is working better. I can't tell if the sound is okay or not. I'm using a different microphone, so hopefully this is good. Anyways, this is a new midweek live stream. What I'm going to try to do is do these hopefully maybe at least like twice a month or so. I've been doing live streams with my friend Daniel, you've probably seen, and those are on like Sunday my time, Saturday your time. And those will continue, but there's kind of like a snag right now. Google's gotten rid of Google Hangouts. So basically the deal is that it's going to be harder for us to do them, and I need to figure out new software. So we both need to get that all sorted out before we can do that. But until then, I'll try to do some of these midweek live streams. And even after I get him back, I'll still continue to do some of these. So basically, I just want to talk about, like new products, maybe some guitar stuff. Maybe I'll do some question and answers and answer some questions that you ask me. I'm sorry, that sentence was kind of long and repetitive. But anyways, you get the idea. So one of the things I want to talk about just briefly is NAMM show and something that I saw there that I liked. So the new Fender amps I was actually really into. So these amps are basically digital amps that look like tube amps. So they have the Deluxe, which is like a Fender Deluxe, and Twin. And so they look exactly like their tube counterparts, but they're digital. So the biggest difference is that you can just like pick them up easily, and it's easy to carry around. So this is really good because I have a Fender Twin next to me actually, and it's ridiculously heavy. So that's good, and I think lots of people will appreciate that. One of the things I don't like is like for me personally, I like various sounds to come out of it. So just having one sound isn't that great, but I understand there are people who just like, I only need one sound. So for them, it's good. I heard this compared online where they compared the new digital ones to the actual tube ones, and they sound virtually identical. Like there's barely any difference. I think what makes this sound better than some of the other modeling amps they've made before is they actually spent money on the speaker. So it's like, okay, now they have like a good speaker in there. And one of the problems was before with other amps where they try to do all in one, they try to choose a speaker that's kind of like neutral, that's good for rock and good for metal and good for jazz and good for country. And there's really no speaker that kind of does everything like that. So even if they wanted to spend the money, it probably wouldn't work, but they're also cheap. And so you get something that's kind of like, which I think holds back the modeling. But in this case, they decided to go all in and just do one model. And I think that probably made it sound better, which is why it sounds so good. Other things they added direct outputs with IRs, I believe. So you can go into the PA, so that way you can keep the stage volume down, which I think people in Japan will probably be really into. Although I'm not sure if they'll get this in Japan. Fender amps aren't that common, but who knows? Maybe with this, it might cause them to be, pick up in popularity or something. So I thought that was really cool, and I thought it was a good idea from Fender. The only thing I didn't like was the price. I think they're too expensive, but I guess the market they're going for is like kind of like older people who want a gig. They probably have lots of disposable income, so maybe it's okay for them. I don't know. Actually, let me know if the volume is okay here. Let me try to check this. Yeah, YouTube is being kind of like goofy now. So I just did another one. I was speaking to myself for like 5 minutes before someone came in and said like, yeah, we can't hear you at all. I was like, oh, Jesus. So hopefully this is better. I changed microphones, but I'll get it right. I don't know. Google is kind of messing up with YouTube. It's kind of making me angry. They got rid of the live streaming stuff. For some reason, it's not showing me how loud my microphone is here. But hopefully they'll get it together, I'll get it together, and everything will go smoothly. Switching off to something else, let's talk about like synthesizers for a second. There have been a few that have been released recently. Like I'm doing stuff for M Sound Factory, and check out my videos online if you want to learn more about that. But some other ones I saw is Phase Plant. I thought that actually looked pretty cool. It's like semi-modular, and you can do lots of things with it, with samples and FM and wave tables and things. So I was like, actually, that looks pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to use it, and to be honest, I probably won't because I don't really need it. But I was like, it sounds cool. Like the ideas of it and the sounds I've heard from it sound good. So hopefully that continues. I like competition like that. It's good for everybody. And also the big one is Massive X. How's everyone feeling about Massive X? So they waited about like 10 years to make a successor to Massive. And Massive was a huge hit. It was really like genre defining. Like there's, I think, probably dubstep. Lots of those sounds just came straight from Massive. I think lots of modern EDM is shaped by the sound of Massive. And I don't understand why they took so long to make a successor to that, because Massive was just kind of getting long in the tooth. It didn't look that good. The graphics were, you could tell it was old. But they waited and they came out with this Massive X, and it seemed like it wasn't ready, which people complained about. And I was like, I didn't understand, like, why did it, it's been like 10 years. Why does it seem like it's not ready? So that wasn't good. And on top of that, like, it was supposed to come out like almost like last year, and there's a big delay and everything. But I heard it and I was like, I think it sounds good. There's nothing wrong with how it sounds. It sounds good. It sounds fairly modern. But I think the problem is just now there's just too much competition in that space that Massive kind of made, where like those harsh sounds and those like short wavetables and everything. There's a bunch of other synths that do the exact same thing. And in fact, like, some of them even have more features. Like, I know lots of people were disappointed about the no wavetable import. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why does Massive not have, or Massive X not have wavetable import? I realized the original Massive didn't have this, but I was thinking like, okay, you know, at the time, wavetable synths probably weren't that popular. So for someone to make a wavetable synth in the first place, you're like, okay, I'll just put these in here and just add the wavetables and it'll be cool. But since then, like now, almost every wavetable synth has wavetable import. I don't understand why you wouldn't have that. I can understand, like, I don't want to make a wavetable editor, because wavetable editors might take a while to make. You know, people might complain about it anyways. But just having the basic wavetable import, I think, would be easy to do. Well, I don't know. I'm not a programmer. Maybe it's not that easy to do. But I think it'd be easy and it would, you know, be good. But what do I know? So they didn't do that. They was complaining about that. Apparently, they didn't have a manual, so people were complaining about that. And there's also like other small bugs. I don't know. Maybe they worked them out. I don't know. I think I saw something they didn't update or something. So maybe they worked everything out. Maybe everything's good. But I like the fact they made it like semi-modular. So that part was cool. They took some elements from Reactor and put those in there. So there's lots of cool elements, but I feel like it's not enough in 2019. I don't know. So the ideas were good, but you just kind of need more. Like everything I saw in there, I was kind of like, hadn't that stuff kind of been done before? I mean, of course they put like, okay, we put like nice filters in there. Like, that's cool. I'm not saying that's bad, but maybe I'm just not a filter head. So maybe somebody was like, okay, it needs, like, this has the best filters. Maybe they're really into it, but for me, it's like, that's cool. Of course it's better. It's good to have like more types of filters and better sounding filters. But I think the sound of Massive isn't really in the filters. But I don't know. Maybe it will. Speaking of synthesizers, what do you think is the next big synth sound? So I've been thinking about this, and like over the years, it seems like every time there's a new synthesizer, a popular synthesizer, there's new sounds that come out of it. So like maybe a long time ago when synthesizers first came out, like the Emerson, Lake and Palmer Lucky Man lead using that, was it a Moog, I think? Yeah. And like that sound, which is really cool and really popular, which I still really like. I don't know if anybody else does it. I like it. And then like later in the 80s, they had that like DX7 key sound, the electric piano, where it's not really like a Rhodes electric piano, but it's like that new, really glassy type that people still use for like synthwave and stuff. So that was really popular, and that still continues. I still hear that sometimes, actually. I actually like that sound. And also that Moog bass they used for funk, that's iconic. And I think like most recently, I'm thinking probably the growls from Skrillex. Those are like, I think that's the most recent like big synth sound. Like when I first heard it, I was like, whoa, what is that? And I was like, okay, well, that kind of defined a genre. And I think people still use those now sometimes. But since then, I haven't heard too much. I guess I could say the future bass, like wobble synths, wobble pads and things like that. So maybe that's one. And those like vocal chops where you use like a sampler, but I don't know if that's not a synthesizer, that's a sampler. But I don't know. What do you think is going to be the next sound that comes out of synthesizers? You think it's going to be something like interesting and new, or do you think like everyone's discovered all the synth sounds, or do you think we're going to have to make a new type of synthesis just to come up with new sounds? So I don't know, but it just seems like right now it's kind of stagnating and people are recycling sounds. So I'm hoping something new and interesting will come out, but I don't know. I don't know if it's just people's imaginations or if it's just like we need some new technology. So I'm not sure, but it seems like there's some more synths coming out, and hopefully somebody will come up with some new synthesis, and maybe you can use in Sound Factory and put all this stuff together to make some new and interesting sounds. So maybe I should do it instead of complaining to other people. Anyways, let's move on. Talk about like one or two more things. So also like these synth pedals for guitar, I've noticed lots of companies are coming out with these, and I really like this because I'm into synth pedals. So I think this will be good because now there's a kind of a synth wave thing. So these synth pedals, they're sounding like older synthesizers. So I think people will be able to use them, and hopefully it'll make people interested in guitar again, even if they're not using strictly guitar sounds. Let me see. Talk about maybe one, actually, what should I talk about here? Oh, I should talk about this also. I'm planning to do more CD reviews and album reviews. I haven't done one in about a month or maybe 2 months, actually. Sorry about that. But that's just pure laziness on my part. I'll start doing those again. So give me some recommendations. What should I check out and what should I do a review of? So I'm not really sure. There's lots of good stuff out there, but sometimes when there's too much good stuff, you know, it's just information overload, and I don't know what to choose. So I'll do that. Also, if you have any ideas for live streams like this, so something you want to hear me talk about, please do. I don't know if you want me to talk about like music technology and synthesizers. Do you want to hear me talk about guitar stuff? I can talk about music theory if you want. So if you want me to do a live stream where I'm talking about music theory or writing or production, or if you just want me to, I don't know, I don't want to get into a bunch of other stuff on here. I don't want to talk about like Marvel movies or anything on like that on here, because although I like my Marvel movies, I'm wearing an Avengers shirt. But I don't know if this isn't really the place for that. But I can talk about some other stuff if you want to hear about that. Should talk about the heat. Jeez, it's hot out here. So if you don't know, I'm in Japan. It's really hot and humid right now. So that's why I look so sweaty right now. So I apologize about that. Also, if you want to suggest some video ideas and things, please, you can leave those below. And I'll try to do this hopefully every 2 weeks or so. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully this comes out well, and you'll be seeing more of these soon. So thanks for watching. Leave me some comments down below. And until next time, see you.